In Nigeria, land issues pose significant challenges ranging from ownership disputes to inefficient land management practices. One major problem is the lack of clear land tenure system, leading to overlapping claims and frequent conflicting among communities, families, and individuals. These have often led to destruction of lives and properties, shedding of blood, among other numerous vices. Welcome once again to your program, Storms and Winds with Monica. I am your host, Monica Njoko. We shall be back after this time out.
This is Storms and Winds with Monica.
That we are not going to give them land. We have already, the committee have agreed to give them 245 hectares of lands.
Before you go into landed property, find out who that surveyor is. Who is a surveyor? Because everybody parade themselves as surveyors, call you, give you land, but there are some basic questions you should ask to know. Even without telling you, your IQ should tell you, this person doesn't have real information about the property I want to buy. How did it come about? You say it's my family. Is it your father's land? Can I see your siblings before any payment is made? That is one side. Now, if it's a gazetted, if it's a layout, you find out how did you get the land? Because a community can do a layout, share it to their taxable adults by way of allocation, assigning allocation paper to them because the land has not been surveyed ab initio. So you have a master plan. Now what do they do? Having assigned a plan, an allocation, that is the only authority that shows that you own that property. So if you want to buy, so layout, how do you own it? How is it your own? It has to show you the document that proves that it's own.
I have issues with my inherited land. So I was actually trying to build a house way back in 2001 when my relations came and said I should have gone there without their permission. When our daddy that was alive at that point was alive. So we even went to court and the court decided that I had right over that. And since my dad was still alive and we were supposed to be the one giving us the key, the directions, there was nothing wrong with what we did. At the point, they fizzled out of the problem. You know, we have communal land, of what I call family land. So the way we do it is, if you have reached the age of marriage, when you get married, you bring necessary things that are needed. They give you your own plots. All right. All of a sudden, you know, the leadership changed, and when leadership changed, the person that is now in charge brought a new policy. His policy now is no more when we are now of age, but his policy is that I say, okay, now I am the eldest, and whatever thing I say is what is going to be. So once you have the wherewithal and then approach and get to him, he will go and give you. He will say, okay, Emily, bring paper or whatever thing I will sign as the eldest person. So, which is not good. So that thing happened, and I went and I told him, okay, that this thing that we're doing is not good. And actually, he has been following me up in many ways. See, so I know if it is easy for him, I could have no more been alive.
This is Storms and Winds with Monica.
Today on the show, we shall be tackling key issues on how these problems simulate and try to proffer some solutions.
You may buy a land today and you observe that that land have also been bought by other persons. And because of that, you now have what we call some challenges which will now lead to sometimes even war between you and that particular individual. And the person that sold the land will be there and be looking at two of you, be fighting. You understand? So one of the challenges you get when you buy a land from the inappropriate source, you can now get what we call a communal crisis between you and that individual. So I always tell people that before you buy any land at all, you have to go through the right source and locate the right owner of that particular land.
This is Storms and Winds with Monica.
You will see somebody will buy one particular landed property. He are not getting the CFO. He will raise buildings. After raising the buildings, if there is any problem along the line, government may come in and say, well, this thing is not well situated, or this thing is, there's no CFO, the person has built the house already. And you see the government now impound that building, destroy the building, the person will be shouting that government has taken over the house, government has taken over, whereas in essence, he is not the rightful owner of that house. It happens everywhere in this state and everywhere. So, what we are talking therefore, before you bring out your millions to buy a particular landed property, you should only is on you to make sure you go to the Ministry of Lands, first of inquire whether the person who is selling this house is the rightful owner of that house. Now, certificate of ownership, are you the owner? Because many of these agents, they will sell this person to this person. After two days or 3 days or 1 week, they will sell the same property to another person. But government cannot give you CFO for two people in one land. No.
Either they did not ask the basic questions, or they fall into the wrong hands. They have been duped by some scammers. So that is how it could be possible. Now, in buying landed property, of course, land. Of course, you know, land is, there are different ownership to land. Most of the land is owned by community. Family do own land. One buys from government, one buys from family. And in asking question, maybe you interested to acquire a property, one will introduce you so and so. First and foremost, what type of land? Is it a virgin land? What document does that land have? Oh, we inherited it from our forefathers. Of course, in that land there are principal members of the family must be aware of any land transaction. So you should go down. If it is family land, you have to go down to the family. How do you get the land? Show us the portion of the land. Who is the surveyor? That is where the surveyor comes in.
This is Storms and Winds with Monica.
Land is one of the problems of this country, because if the land belongs to the government only and nobody owns land here, I think the country could have been better off than what it is now. I have a friend in Kuwait who told me that in that country there's nothing like individual ownership of land. You know, the country will build houses. Once you are 18 years, you go and take your own apartment, and then there's nothing like this is my plot, or you come and do whatever you like. You face it this way. You block the drainage system here. You block the flow of air the other side. You know, government will consider all these things before putting up a building, and because of that, they make sure that nobody owns land.
This is Storms and Winds with Monica.
Certain areas are designated for residential, but at times some people will just go there and then ignore the residential area and then put it for hotel or put it for entertainment. This thing. I think that's where some of these problems start coming up.
People say we used to buy road. I've seen an estate where people are selling, where people are buying road. Yes, you know, at the end of the day, maybe government would like to open up that road, and they would like to destroy all those things. So before somebody invests, it should be the right person should make sure that that place is really safe. You know, or that it has not been bought by some other person, and the land is equally registered. The person will buy and then get it well documented with Minister of Lands of the very state that the land is situated.
So my experience in landed property in Enugu for the first time was not too encouraging for me to advise people to go and invest on landed property unless you are ready not to buy and keep. You don't buy and keep land in Enugu because most of all these agents, they don't know, they don't have anything. What they are doing is just to be selling people's land.
Before you start building, you buy the house adequately and then get your certificate of occupancy, COC of O. If you do it, you have your paper. Then government, in the event of taking over this house, government will pay you duly.
Give you an instance, like my elder brother in Bayelsa bought a land about 2 plots. You understand it? He bought a land about 2 plots, and when he wanted to build, somebody came and said, "I've also bought this land," and so there was a war. The brother said, "I paid for this land. I just came up from abroad." The guy said, "This particular land also, I also paid for it." So the person that sold the land came out and said, "I sold the land for both of you. I sold the land for both of you." So between two of them, they now find a common ground to resolve their issue. What was their own common ground? They now say, "Okay, you take 1 plot, I will take 1 plot," and that was how they now share the land. Because he bought the land in Delta State there, and he bought about 4 plots of land. That was about 200,000 naira at that time. So when he wanted to build, they told him that, "Listen, the land we sold to you is very cheap. We don't want to sell that." He has already paid. They have even given him everything. They said, "For you to build, we have to pay you. You have to pay the normal price per plot." So he now negotiated again for that particular land that he bought. He now decided to pay 400,000 per plot. That's how serious it is. So he has to accept it.
This is Storms and Winds with Monica.
Why won't we involve legal action? Court is the hope of common man. Okay. You cannot take law into your own hands. You cannot start fighting. If something we cannot dialogue it one-on-one, settle it amicably outside court, of course the only option left is legal means. And legal means is the advisable means of recovery. In as much as you have your documents, you know you did all you're supposed to do, and this person wants to defraud you of your hard-earned money, of course you can't fold your hands and start watching. It's 100% advisable. Or will you choose fighting? You can choose boxing or negating yourself in the street. It doesn't work. So the best way is if dialogue between two of you fail, then the only option left is legal means.
This is Storms and Winds with Monica.
Actually, there is this idea of trying to know where every land is and who owns what land. If we get the geographic map of the lands in Enugu State, in Nigeria as a whole, of course, before you buy a land, for instance, you would have gone to the ministry to find out who owns what and where is the land located. From there, the problem will actually stop. So it's a kind of mapping out all the lands around and knowing who owns what and by what means.
My major advice is that make your research, make sure that you are buying from the right person, then you can go, you are good to go.
When you buy a land that leads to trouble, just find a common ground for peace. You don't need to lose heart. Just find a common ground for peace so that both of you can settle your grievances.
Take this ownership from individuals and let government own land. Let nobody own anything land.
Before anyone goes to buy land, he should make some basic inquiries. Buy from a layout, a gazetted layout, ask for a surveyor.
Don't buy any land without approval of the Ministry of Lands.
This is Storms and Winds with Monica.
Now we are sure of the necessary procedures to take before purchasing landed properties. Thank you so much for being part of this show. What is your own comment on land matters? Please drop your comments on our comment section at Storms and Winds with Monica. If you have not downloaded or subscribed our YouTube channel, please subscribe and make your voice be heard. See you in our next edition of our program. I am your host, Monica Njoko.